Welcome to Game Crunch, your weekly video game podcast. My name is Mike Anastasia. With me today, we have Brandon.
Hello.
We're here to talk about games and things.
Games and things.
Things and games. Well, I'm guessing
Yes.
mostly games. I don't know.
I
Did
think so,
you?
too. I watched some movies. I could
Yeah, you did.
actually mention some of those because those were fun.
Sure thing. I don't think I watched. Oh no, I did watch a spoopy thing this week.
Oh, what did you watch?
Follow House of Usher.
Oh, okay. I don't know what that is.
Oh, I think it's right up your alley.
Okay.
But we can talk about that when we get there. We'll talk games first. Because there are new releases this week. So
I didn't play any of them. Did you?
I played Mario Brothers Wonder.
Oh, there you go.
I almost 100% of it. So
nice.
The only thing I didn't do. So you get just some of the more recent Mario games. Mm-hmm. You get medals or whatever, or stars or whatever the fuck they are for, how many different big things you do in the game. There's 6 of them in this one. I got 5 of them. The last one is just for collecting all the standees, and that's just coin collecting. So that's the only thing I didn't do. I've beaten all the stages. I've gotten all the coins in the stages. I've gotten all the wonder seeds in the stages. So I've basically seen everything that this game has to offer. So I have lots of thoughts on it.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll start there because it's new and fresh and exciting. So yeah. So Super Mario Brothers Wonder, new 2D Mario. If you don't know, it's different from that. They kind of have tried to separate themselves from the new Super Mario Brothers line by being, a little bit more creative and trying some different things to, sort things out. Well, the wah-wahs are gone, so that's kind of a, a nice thing. And you do still have the 4-player simultaneous gameplay if you want it.
Mm-hmm.
They let you choose from a multitude of characters. You got, your Mario, Luigi. You got your 2 different colored Toads, Toadette, Peach, Daisy. 4 different color Yoshis, Nabbit. So you got some choices.
Okay.
And then the Yoshis and Nabbit, those players don't take damage, but they also don't get to use the power up either. So just kind of the trade-off there, maybe more applicable for someone who's, not great at, 2D platformers or whatever.
Okay.
In terms of the games, though, so they did some interesting things. So they kind of changed the progression system up a bit. It's not like linear and branching pathways like they've had in some of the other Mario games.
Mm-hmm.
So, you might have some linear pathways, but then they'll open up in areas where, you can go to whichever level you want. Okay. And then, then they'll have kind of a stopping point where they'll be like, hey, you got to have at least X amount of wonder seeds before you go on. So you got that kind of thing. Later in the game, they even let you be like, hey, you can go to whatever world you want. We don't have a set order for you.
Okay.
So they do give you a lot of kind of control in that style. In terms of, level stuff, you have your traditional platformer levels, but they also have some levels where they're kind of challenge stages where it's just about getting through and doing kind of maybe a race to the end with a certain amount of time, or you have to kill a certain amount of enemies and then you get rewards based on how fast you do it. There's even one interesting kind of level where it's called, they call them, I think, Search Party. I think that's what it's called. But it's basically, it's kind of like an open kind of exploration puzzle stage. Whereas there's 5 coins hidden in the stage, and it might not necessarily be apparent to how to get to them, but they're hidden blocks and different puzzles to solve in order to find the 5 coins in there. And some of them are quite difficult. So I thought that variety was nice. In terms of gameplay, difficulty, I guess in terms of control style, it's traditional Mario, run, jump, slide, whatever. In terms of, power-ups, there's nothing beyond what they talked about in the Nintendo Direct. You have your usual stuff, mushrooms and fire flowers, and then kind of your big power-ups in this one are, there's the bubble flower, you can shoot bubbles at enemies and kind of trap them in there, and you can also use them as an extra jump. You got Elephant Mario, which I kind of thought was stupid in the trailers, but it actually is kind of interesting. So, you're kind of just, I don't know, you're a little bigger. It doesn't really limit your jumping or anything. I figured it might be hey, your jumping kind of sucks. No, it's still about the same. Didn't really change anything there, but now you got a trunk and you can launch things. So like a spikes ball is coming at you, just launch it with your trunk, just like whoop, throw it away. So that's kind of interesting. Also, can carry water around and use it to for puzzles and stuff that way too, which is something that comes up every once in a while in the game. So that's interesting. And then the last one's the drill cap, which I said it before, reminds me a lot of the drill item from Mario Galaxy. Kind of works similarly, lets you drill into ceilings or floors and avoid damage that way or whatever. So it's a nice power up and definitely has some advantages and some puzzle stuff there too, which I thought was nice. So I got all that kind of stuff. In terms of difficulty, I would say if you're just trying to get through the core game, maybe not too terribly difficult. I kind of like how more recent Mario games have been. This one though does still have your special world and your challenge levels. They can get quite difficult. In terms of like overall difficulty, I don't know. Like at those challenge levels, maybe or at least they're probably at least on par with some of the other ones. I don't think it's definitely not the hardest Mario levels I've ever seen, but definitely not like the easiest either. But kind of the big thing with this game is just kind of the characters and the animations and stuff. They really did a good job of like bringing the world to life. Mario and friends are much more emotive, and they'll do kind of things like hat grab or much more facial expressions when they're doing things. You'll have Goombas that will be sleeping or kind of react to things different. Enemies will react to you differently depending on what's going on. I have to say, I thought those talking flowers would be stupid, and I actually kind of ended up enjoying them. So, just some of their commentary was just kind of like, okay, that's kind of cool. So there's that stuff. I would also say too, just kind of throw this out there. This game's kind of, in some ways, a low-key rhythm game.
What the hell?
Yeah, there's, I would say, a good percentage of stages. Definitely not every stage, but there's a good percentage of stages that tie in like musical things. Where it's kind of like, they make it so you're like, hey, you're jumping to the beat, or platforms appear to the beat, or there's like kind of like some singing stages that have to do with kind of like singing things. So there's definitely a lot more of that. And one of the badges you can get in the game actually lets you, I think you get coins for every jump you make in rhythm with like the game's music. So I definitely have like a lot more ties there than I would have expected. Some of the rhythm stuff I think you would really dig. I was actually kind of impressed with,
Okay, cool.
how they do it. So that's kind of a thing. Also the badges, because I didn't really talk about those. So you have badges in this game. They give your character different abilities. They're kind of broken up into maybe like 3 different categories. One group is kind of just like power-up badges that kind of give your character different abilities. Usually with jumping, but not always. Like one of them gives yourself like a parachute hat, so you can glide. Another one gives you like a extra wall jump, so you can jump up vertically before a wall jump, and then wall jump after that. There's one that gives you like a elevated spin jump, so you can spin jump higher. You got one that's like I think it's called dolphin swim or whatever. It basically gives you kind of almost like the frog suit in Mario Brothers 3. You kind of just can propel yourself through the water. So a bunch of different abilities there that can be helpful, or things like that. Then you kind of have some badges that give you kind of not necessarily like abilities, but maybe like some advantages or whatever in the game, where it's kind of like I was talking about the rhythm badge, where you get kind of coins for jumping to the rhythm of the game. There's another one where it has to do with, I think you get extra coins for every enemy you defeat. There's ones where it's like every time you respawn, you start with like a super mushroom instead of starting as like small Mario. So you have different abilities there. Those are kind of nice. And then there's like kind of a last group, which is kind of like weird shit. And it's just more like, I think that's the category where like the jet boots like fall in, where you constantly are running at like faster than full speed and nothing can stop you. But it also gives you kind of, if you run off the edge of a ledge, you're going to run a little further before you start to fall. So it gives you kind of like maybe a mild advantage there sometimes. It's not something I would use for like normal level stuff. Could be something interesting maybe for like speedrunners, but Yeah, there's that kind of stuff. One of the badges makes you invisible, so you literally can't see yourself on stage, but I also think you can't be hurt by enemies either. So, there's kind of that trade-off there. So there's some interesting stuff. You can kind of mix and match and, do different things there.
I see.
Um, One thing that I would say completely discredited during like the previews of this game and was surprisingly enjoyed was the online multiplayer. So, because I don't know if you remember what it looked like when we talked about it before. So this game kind of has like you can do multiplayer with friends, but it kind of has like an asynchronous. I don't know, maybe not asynchronous, but like a multiplayer where you can kind of just you can go online and then other people who are playing the same level can just be put into the stage with you kind of as ghosts.
Mm.
So they'll run around. They don't really affect your level in any way, shape, or form, but they are there. So, what is fun about this? Well, if you die, they can, if you swim your ghost to them, they can resurrect you. Very helpful sometimes. They can put down standees, which also can resurrect you. They can give you items. And if you get to like the flagpole at the end, you can get like heart points together. So what do the heart points do? Don't fucking know. I still can't find anything out. Doesn't seem like you would cash them out for anything, but that's just kind of a currency they give you to basically like, good job for being a nice person. So, uh, so you can get those things there. And I don't know. There's sometimes where it's like, I'll play their level sometimes and won't care. Like I'll just be like, okay, these people are here, whatever. I'm just trying to do something specific and just blast past them, whatever. But then sometimes you'll be in like a hard level, like maybe that search party level I was talking about, or maybe some of the harder challenge levels, and you're losing lives or whatever. I was playing the last stage yesterday, which was not surprisingly, it was a tough Mario stage. And so I was in the second section of the stage, and I was trapped there with a Mario, and I was playing as Blue Toad because that's who I played the entire game as. I did not touch Mario or any other characters at all during my playthrough. Just Blue Toad, 100% of the time.
Okay.
And anyways, so yeah, so me and Mario were kind of stuck there, and then we were just kind of dying back and forth. We were kind of like hanging back to like help each other out and save each other if anything happened. Unfortunately, we got to the end of the second part, and Mario must have died right before. Then he's like, it's seared in my memory. He's like swimming towards me, and he has like a second left, and then he doesn't make it, and then he dies, and he gets sent back to the end of the second section, and I'm just kind of like, well, I can't sit here and wait for him, so I left him. I felt bad, and then he never completed it because he never caught back up to me, and then he disappeared. So, yeah, so but it is interesting. Like you'll get in ones where it's like, you work together really hard and then you get to the flagpole at the end and they're like, yeah, and then you can kind of like emote and stuff. You can send like, like happy faces or like music signs or whatever. It lets you just, send like a little emotion here and there, kind of like, I don't know, booyahs from Splatoon basically. But it's surprising how much you can relay with just like, happy faces or sirens or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I was, surprisingly happy with like how that turned out. I really enjoyed it, from being able to play with those other people, even though I thought it was like it looked dumb, but surprisingly enjoyable. It does come with a cost though of a little bit of lag. I have noticed that.
I see.
So, but not noticeable. It usually kind of happens, when the stage starts and maybe towards the end when everyone's kind of jumping on the flagpole. But when you're running around and about, nothing too crazy. And I think the last big thing I really didn't talk about was the Wonder Seeds. That's kind of like the big thing with this game. So I think every single normal stage has a Wonder Seed. Well, at least to my memory. Some of them you are forced to get. Some of them are completely optional, and you can choose to run by them. And some of them are hidden, and you have to kind of go out of your way to find them. But I would say for the most part, they all pretty much offer unique kind of surprises. I don't remember there being too much repetition in between the Wonder Seeds, and you kind of really can't predict, beforehand, based on the stage, maybe necessarily what they will bring. If you go back to the stage, it's always the same thing. It's not like they are random, but I'm saying just in terms of like each stage, like kind of what that Wonder Seed may offer, might be completely different. Like sometimes they might change your character into, I think ones they showed in like the trailers, like one you turn into like a rolling ball. I've seen ones where they turn them into a balloon. Sometimes they'll turn you into an enemy character. But there's other ones where it'll be like, the stage will kind of transform in a different way. Sometimes that's where you'll get those music stages. Sometimes that's where you'll get like I had one where it's like a perspective change, and now you're kind of walking and like kind of like looking down at like more like a Zelda, like an old school Zelda versus 2D platformer. So yeah, they can vary quite a bit, but yeah, really enjoyable, really surprising. Um, I guess if I was going to say where I would rank this game compared to other 2D Mario games, definitely better than any of the new Super Mario Brothers. Easily, I would say probably this is the best game since like Mario Brothers 3 or Mario World in terms of 2D Mario games. So I think it's a lot of fun. Obviously, though, I got through it pretty quickly, so it's not like there's a lot of stuff there. I would say too, for someone who's played Mario games for a long time, secrets aren't terribly hard to find. I did not need to look up anything online to find secrets. So that kind of it's not. I mean, I guess it's kind of two sides of different things. I'm sure some of the stuff is harder for people who maybe not as familiar with how they tend to hide things, but on the flip side, also not so. Some of the old Mario games had like really obtuse like things to figure out, and I don't feel like there was any of that here. So mileage may vary, but it is a Mario game. You know what you're getting into. But I really kind of like the package that they put together here. I think the Wonder Seeds were really interesting, and I could see them doing a lot of creative stuff with it, and they wanted to kind of build upon this. But at the end of the day, it's a 2D Mario game. I don't think they also didn't radically change so much that it's like a different franchise. But some of the things that I really did enjoy, I really like the Wonder Seeds. I thought they were a lot of fun. I think the badges add a lot of enjoyment to some of the different stuff that's there. And I kind of did like the fact that the game had some non-linear elements, so I could just kind of go around and do things more or less how I wanted to. So yeah, well, that's kind of my and like I love the art style and kind of that kind of stuff. Music surprisingly disappointing for the most part. I don't really find anything that was like, oh my god, this is great Mario music. They're like, yeah, this music's fine. What you're playing. So
very nice.
Yeah. Do you have any questions? I know I just rambled about Super Mario Wonder.
No, I think that's good. I think I knew all I need to know basically.
Yeah, I mean it's not really. I said it's it's a 2D Mario game. You at the end of the day, you kind of know what you're getting. There shouldn't really be any surprises there. But it's a good one. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. I would say it's the best one since the Super Nintendo era. So yeah, I said I think they have some good ideas that they can build on. It's interesting now that they opened up. I would say kind of like in the badges and different things. You're kind of like, oh, I could really see them going kind of wild with some of the ideas that they started here. So it would be interesting to see what they end up doing with whatever's after this. I could see them doing DLC for this game if they wanted to. And the question is whether or not they would. I don't know. 2D Mario's, you never know what you're gonna get. What do we do? We got DLC for Super Mario Brothers Wii U or Super Mario Brothers U. I think it was because that's when we got the Luigi levels, and those were interesting. New Super Mario Brothers 2 had DLC. They had those extra levels. So I don't know. They may not. I mean, we were talking about we fully expected DLC for Tears of the Kingdom. Never got it.
Well, I mean, they outright told us, no, we're not giving you DLC. Like, damn, bro.
Yeah, no, you're not gonna get it, and you're gonna be happy with what you got. And like I said, this game definitely feels like it's it has everything that it needs to have. So what they would be adding here would just kind of be like challenge stages or others kind of quality of life stuff. I don't necessarily think it's lacking anything per se. I think it's a great game on its own. But yeah, that's what it is. So I think that's all I got to talk about for Mario.
Okay.
Yeah. What have you been playing?
I was playing Miles Morales to get ready for Spider-Man 2 whenever I do end up buying Spider-Man 2. So I never finished Miles Morales all the way through. So I was going and doing that. And it's fun. It's been really enjoyable doing that. I like it quite a bit.
It's not
Also,
terribly long, right?
nah, I think it's like 9 hours or so, but I keep doing all the side stuff
Oh, okay.
because there's a lot of like lore things, but it's a short game anyway, so like fuck it. Other than that, I actually got a new keyboard and a new mouse and like an
Okay.
entire new setup. So I like set up my entire new setup that I've been working on. But
Hmm.
I'll show you that in a little bit. But I'll just tell you this right now. I've played a few other things, mostly rhythm games on PC. So I played Muse Dash because they have a collab with Hatsune Miku, and I do like Hatsune Miku music, so there's that. So that was good. That was lots of fun on the new keyboard, especially. I got these really clicky keys. Listen to this. Can you hear it?
Oh yeah. Can't miss
Yeah.
it.
Huh?
Said can't miss it.
Yeah. So anyway, those that's my keyboard now, and it's actually really nice to have keys like that when playing rhythm games because you can actually like you can hear yourself hitting the right button for the said rhythm game and that sort of thing. So I got it because of that. But I'm not sure if I like blues. I think I'm just going to go back to reds, which would probably be easier. But anyway, moving on from that.
Hmm.
I played some Theat Rhythm, Final Bar Line as well, because I wanted to play more of that. That was really enjoyable. I haven't played any of the new songs because I didn't know there were new songs, and I saw that there's a new DLC coming out next month for it, which will be music from Final Fantasy 16. There's
Oh,
like
very
12
exciting.
tracks that they're adding, so I was like, oh, that's kind of cool,
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, I've been really just chilling, so it's been like CS2, Fortnite, uh, music games, Miles Morales, and honestly, that's about it. That's what I've been dealing with, more or less. I've been watching more horror movies than anything lately, to be completely honest.
Okay.
So yeah,
Got
I
it.
want. I'm gonna go into that. I guess I'm gonna do
Okay.
that instead because that's a better use of my time right now. So anyway,
Okay.
I watched Evil Dead from 2013.
Hmm.
Again, I saw it in theaters. That's the last time I saw it. And I was very kind of stuck uppy about it because, I like the original Evil Dead a lot. It's one of my favorite horror movies. Evil Dead 1 and 2 are like my favorite horror movies ever. Like the original 80s, 90s ones and that sort of thing. And I really, really enjoy those. So the fact that there's none of that goofy campiness and it just kind of played it straight really kind of took me back when I originally saw it. So I was very, very, very against the movie. But now rewatching and I was like, you know what? That was really fucking good. So I like the remake of Evil Dead now. And I watched that so I could watch the sequel to it, which also just came out on streaming.
Yeah.
Evil Dead Rise.
Hmm.
That is a very interesting movie. First of all, I think I like it better than the first one, like the first
Hmm.
remake. Second of all, it is such an interesting idea because, you've seen Evil Dead before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's in a cabin, it's in the
Hmm.
woods, and like they're kind of trapped there because of all the deadites and all the woods and all the stuff that's coming up from it and all yada 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 blah blah blah, and they can't really leave and because all this stuff is happening. Well, Evil Dead Rise decides to like kind of flip the script a lot and does something really interesting, which is make the entire movie take place in an apartment complex.
Okay.
So they can't leave because there's been an earthquake, and the earthquake destroyed the stairs.
Hmm.
And during the earthquake, one of the kids of the main character found found like a bank vault underneath in the like the car park portion of their apartment complex.
Hmm.
And when he went inside the bank vault, he found like some hidden places and some stuff. And inside one of the bank areas was the Book of the Dead, was the Necronomicon, was the thing that does the thing, and also some vinyls. And this kid happens to be a fucking like DJ kind of guy.
Mhm.
So he goes back into the place, and he's trying to figure out what the hell's going on, because he found like this book that was wrapped up in paper, and he wanted to see what the deal with it was, and he also wanted to see what the vinyls were, and the vinyls ended up saying the words, which ended up causing the monsters to come about and everything. And
Okay.
then it's kind of them trapped inside their apartment complex with their mother who comes back, who is the one possessed, and then all the other tenants of the apartment complex over time becoming possessed as well. So it's everyone fighting off those people, and it's like the kids and the older like aunt fighting the mother and everyone else in the apartment complex, and it's like really tense, and it's really really good. I actually think it's like one of the better horror movies I've seen in a very very long time.
Oh,
Lots
good.
of fun, very very fun movie. I highly recommend watching this one. And of the thing that I just told you, it was basically just the setup plot for it. The rest that I'm leaving out is like kind of incredible. So there you go. Good, like just incredibly good movie. So yeah, I
Okay.
watched that. I watched Grave Encounters 1 and 2, which was a found footage film, and I believe I may have mentioned this. I don't actually know if I did.
What was it called again?
Grave Encounters.
Mm, name doesn't sound familiar.
All right, so it's about a reality show host who goes to an asylum to film overnight, and it's all shot from like the perspective of like this being a reality TV show, essentially. You know, like Ghost Hunters or whatever,
Hmm.
and that's what's supposed to happen. And then shit just starts to go down. Like, you know, he's asking for them to give him a sign, you know, all that good jazz and whatnot. But it gets better because it kind of does some things a little bit differently. Like, it, you know, they're finally like, you know what, fuck it, nothing's really going on. We got a little bit of footage, we can work with that. We're gonna go back to like the place and wait for the person that owns the building to let us out. So they go back to the place, and then there's no longer an exit door, and
Hmm.
they're trapped inside, and lots of crazy shit starts happening, and it's very very good. And the sequel to that's even better, because it's like a direct sequel to it, which is really cool. So
Okay.
yeah, I watched that. I watched Cabin Fever, the original and the remake. The remake is dog shit, but the original is still really good.
Hmm.
Lots of fun, that one. Let's see, some other movies I watched. I mean, I watched a lot of movies, as you can tell. I've been watching lots of spooky movies,
It sounds
basically.
like it. Did you watch the new Creep Show?
I have not watched New Creepshow because I'm not subbed to Shutter yet, which I need to. That's
Ah,
probably one of the like last things I'm gonna do,
uh-huh.
and then probably in the next few days. Thanks for reminding me, actually, because I kind of forgot. But yeah, that's where I'm going next. I watched VHS again. I haven't
Oh
seen
yeah.
it since it originally came out. Have you seen VHS?
Yes, I don't
Yeah.
remember which stories were from that particular VHS because I think I've seen like
The
two or three of them
first
at this
ones
point.
were the guys break in to the person's house,
Hmm.
who were paid to like steal that one VHS tape, and then it's the stories of like, I think the first one is, oh geez, how do I explain the first one? Uh, the girls that they meet at a bar.
Hmm.
I'm trying to explain it without spoiling the plot line, and then they take back to their place.
Okay.
I'm guessing you don't remember it.
Kind of. I
But
think I
anyway,
do.
the first
I thought
VHS
they went
movie
back to
is the
like a
one that was
hotel.
actually shot on like handheld cameras,
Okay.
with a VHS basically, not
Okay.
just a filter like the rest of the movies were. So the first movie is the one that looks the most like it was actually shot on a camcorder, because it was.
Okay.
So
Well, that makes sense then.
that one was fun. That was really
Yeah.
fun to see that again. I think it holds up. I think it's pretty fucking good. So yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah,
think
I
of.
like those little anthology movies. They're usually pretty fun. You know,
Yeah.
they're a mixed bag a lot of times. You never know what you're gonna get, but
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I kind of like kind of the short takes. I mean, not every concept needs to be, you know, evolved into like a full 90+ minute movie. So
Yeah,
sometimes it's just
and
kind of
I
nice
kind
to
of
see.
like that about VHS. They decided which ones like needed to be like longer and which ones really didn't. So like there were some that were like 10 minutes or so, and it was like that's the perfect amount of time for this to tell this
Yeah.
story. So
Yes. What else?
um to be honest, really not that much else. I like I said, there's some other horror movies I watched, but I don't really remember their names.
Fair.
So there's that. I do remember one that was called Silent Retreat that was really interesting,
Mm-hmm.
or it started interesting, about some girl who got sent away to this place that was like kind of like a if you fail at this place, you go to prison
Mm-hmm.
sort of deal. And that was a really interesting one for like the first, I'd say like 30 minutes. And then it kind of like showed its hand. And as it showed its hand, it was like, oh, all right. So there was that. I got more I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch Five Nights at Freddy's this week when it comes out.
Oh yeah, comes out in a couple days.
Yep. So there's that. Kind of want to watch Candyman
Mm-hmm.
because it's been a while. I kind of want to watch My Bloody Valentine because it's been a while. Uh, I have a list of things that I want to see, but I have not sat down and watched yet. One of them at the top of the list is the Chucky TV show.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that last week.
Yeah. I still haven't got to sit down and watch that one, but that one's still there. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else. I want to hear some of the spookies you watched or whatever. There's like, oh yeah, I want to watch the McKinney Manor thing on Hulu. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
All right, so there's this haunted house, right?
Uh-huh.
That was very popular. It was a one that would pop up in different places, and you didn't
Mm-hmm.
have to pay to go to it. Instead, you just brought a bag of dog food, but you had to sign a waiver before you were allowed inside. If
Mm-hmm.
you survived the entire time, I think it was like either 24 or 48 hours, and yes, I said the word survived, then you would you would be awarded like $100,000 or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
But like it was one of the most intense haunted houses ever. That was close to like as close to like torture as you could legally get. Like they would tie people up. They would do things that wouldn't like permanently damage them, but would like hurt them. They would like dump people inside of like bathtubs of cold water and then pull them out quickly. They would like waterboard people. They did all this crazy shit. And the reason they like didn't really have to deal with police, this, that, and the other, was because they would always move, like immediately after their one night there, more or less. And they would just go to some other town somewhere. And then it would just kind of pop up. Like, this was a real haunted house, supposedly. And there's a documentary on it that just got put out on Hulu. And I've been really wanting to see it because I remember growing up, I always wanted to find the place just to be like, is this real? Because there was a whole bunch of other like really crazy stuff to do with it as well. Like people claim that the guy would like always record every haunting, as they called it. So like it essentially was like a snuff film, but without killing people. And he would like sell it online, and there was all this other crazy shit that went on around this this haunted house
Mm-hmm.
that was just like a pop-up haunted house that everyone knew about, but like no one went to, more or less. And then the people that have stories of going there, a lot of things is like, is this real? Is this made up? What exactly is going on, and how did this person get away with it for so long? And that's kind of like, I think that's what the documentary tackles, because apparently it is real, but like the extent of the stories is how much did he pay people to say this sort of stuff? Was this an actual thing that existed, or was it like a giant publicity stunt? Like, what was the place actually like inside? Because that essentially, once you like went inside, they had full game over anything they could do to you for like 24 to 48 hours. And the only way that you could get them to stop is by saying the safe word and everything. And once you said the safe word, then they close it up, and then they still will like mess with you for like another 30 minutes to an hour. I think up to 2, and then they just drop you off somewhere and leave you there so that you can leave. Essentially, it sounds like fucking terrifying, and I remember always being like, I kind of want to go, but I never saw it or heard of it coming around or anything. I always only ever heard the stories, so like, yeah. God, I'm so excited to see that one. I think I'm gonna watch that one actually as soon as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, Monster Inside, America's Most Extreme Haunted House. Russ McKinney is the creator of the world's most extreme haunted house, McKinney Manor. He's also a manipulator, a manipulative, abusive, according to the 3 people who realize the horror is never over once you decide to enter the manor. It's a documentary that came out this year, talking about the McKinney Manor, that sort of thing. So
okay, interesting.
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear about that at all. Hulu does, I think, a very good job of getting Halloween stuff out around the same time as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know they got some new episodes of like American Horror Stories
Mm-hmm.
coming out. It has to be this week, I think.
I think they're out right now because it looks like they're on the just released on. I'm on Hulu right now looking at stuff. So
yeah,
I think they came out today actually.
Yeah, I think I was, when I was just saying, I was like, I know it's supposed to be like the week before Halloween, so yeah, it probably is like today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it looked like they were doing kind of like 4 maybe more focused episodes. So it looked interesting, like concept wise. It's kind of like they try to do kind of American Horror Story stuff, but just like we were just saying, there's some concepts that are better suited for shorter format, and that's kind of what they generally are. I would say overall, at least the American Horror Stories episodes that they had, in the past, they've done 2 full seasons, and this is kind of like this 3rd season's like 4 episodes, so it's nothing wild. The first 2 seasons, very hit and miss with some episodes. They had some episodes had some really cool story stuff, and then other ones are just like, the fuck are they thinking? I don't know.
Wait, American Horror Story was. Wait, didn't the first season have the house, the like kid, that sort of thing? Wasn't that?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I liked that. That was my favorite season.
They had some really good seasons. The new season, at least so far, what's it called? Delicate. It's like it's interesting, but it's weird. I think it got kind of broken up by the writer's strike, so it's like, here's 5 episodes, and then the rest of the season's coming next year. Stay tuned. And it's like, I see. Okay, yeah, whatever. But no, there are some good seasons. I liked the first season, Murder House. That was really
Murder
good.
House. That's the one. Yeah.
A lot of people really like the 3rd season. That's Covenant. That's like the witches. Like a bunch of different stuff going on there. I really like the 6th season, which is Roanoke. I know that one's not a favorite of a lot of people, but it has some like interesting twists in it. And I think it's probably darker than a lot of the other seasons. Hotel's a popular one too. That's one of like Lady Gaga and the Vampires. A lot of people really like that one.
Did you? Sorry.
I was going to say 1984 was good too. It was like a kind of 80s slasher one. But what were you going to say?
Did you ever watch Channel Zero?
No, I don't know what that is.
Okay, Channel Zero is a horror series that was made by Sci-Fi. That each season, they only got 4 seasons, sadly. Each season was based off of internet creepypastas. The first 2 seasons that I watched were fucking incredible. Watch season 1, Candle Cove, and season 2, The No End House. Those 2 seasons are fucking amazing. There's only 6 episodes per season. I know you have Shudder because you just mentioned before the new season.
I don't have Shudder.
Oh, you don't?
We were talking about it last week. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in the same boat. I haven't renewed it yet, but it probably will.
All right. Well, when you do, watch. I mean, Channel Zero should be on Shutter, right? Oh fuck. Who's streaming Channel Zero right now?
Let me see. Let me look at my app.
Shutter. Yeah, Shutter has it. Has all 4 seasons. Watch
Okay.
season 1 and watch season 2. Season 2, I think, is my favorite. Season 1 is based off of one of my favorite creepypastas, but season 2 is fucking incredible.
Okay.
Also, if you look on Shutter, right, Channel Zero is 5 out of 5 stars.
Oh, okay. That's really
So,
good.
like, yeah.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Oh, it looks like it's also season 1 is on Prime Video. Oh wait, no.
But I
No,
think
it's
it's for
not.
purchase, I'm guessing.
It is.
Yeah, like I could purchase it through like Apple for $15 this season if I wanted to do that.
I see. Yeah. Well, you need to just watch it on Shutter. It's fucking so good. I think you'll like it a lot. And if you do like it a lot, I then highly recommend you look up the actual creepypasta. Because there's plenty of people on like YouTube that's gone over it and everything, and the creepypastas that they're based off of. Because what it was a TV show based off of creepypastas. So every season was based off a different creepypasta. And I think season 1 and 2 are the best. I think season 4 is like very odd and not really that good. No, it's season 3 that's not that good. Season 4 is pretty good, but the thing is, it has the least amount of content to work with because the creepypasta that season 4 is about is the doors that just show up in the middle of like. So this was like written on Reddit or something at one point, where a bunch of people that were like nature activists or whatever, or like national park people, like they worked at national parks, would like warn people not to go up any random stairs that they see that have a door at the top of it. And there was like a whole creepypasta that was made because of that, essentially. And it's just like a floating door in the middle of the fucking woods. And like they made it seem very realistic in their post online about it and everything. And then like the story just kind of continued on from there. And the season 4 is about the stories that came from that. And like the door in the woods, that sort of thing. It's super weird. But season 1's about Candle Cove, which is a children's show that everyone remembers but doesn't. And the original creepypasta is about how it was not real, essentially. Which is kind of like the haha gotcha moment of the creepypasta. That it does not exist. It never existed, but everyone collectively hallucinated it and that sort of thing. But the Channel Zero handles it a different way. But the creepypasta is like really fucking good. Like everyone explains it, and then like one of the last posts in the creepypasta is like, you never watched a show that you're talking about. Every day at like 3 p.m. you would sit in front of the All Access channel when they would just be playing the on-air static because they didn't have anything during that time frame. What are you talking about? And like it was kind of like that kind of thing where like they revealed that it, like their mother or someone revealed that the show never existed, but all these people that are talking about it online remember it exactly. And someone's like, I was told by my family that this doesn't exist, and they always found it weird that I used to stare at static for like a half hour every day. It is really creepy, that sort of thing. It is really good because it was like collective hallucination or something that maybe adults couldn't see. And like it plays with, at least on Channel Zero, a lot of the tropes and information that was given in the original creepypasta to make like a 6-episode series off of it. Every one of them's like a mini movie, essentially. It's very neat.
Yeah, it sounds like it. No, I like those kind of like anthology shows. So, I mean, that's good. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I didn't want to talk about that other show though that I watched.
Yeah, give me that info.
Follow the House Usher.
Mm-hmm.
So it's do you know who Mike Flanagan is? he's done a lot of like horror movies lately. I guess a lot of people really like the stuff that he's done.
Mm-hmm.
He's done Oculus.
Or I loved
He's
Oculus.
done, yeah, he's done a bunch of like anthology shows, like The Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor.
Mm.
So he's done a bunch of different
He
things.
did the good Ouija movie.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
saw that name and I'm like, this is probably bad, so I'll skip over this one.
So
So,
yeah, so there's like 3 Ouija movies.
mhm.
One of them is good. This guy made the good one.
Okay. Yeah, at least from what I have seen online, anecdotally, people like almost everything this guy's put out. So,
Oh, he
uh,
made Doctor Sleep? That movie is fucking great.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Have you seen Doctor Sleep?
No, I don't know what it is.
It is the sequel to the fucking Shining.
Oh. I heard about that. I did not know. Yeah.
It's so good.
Hmm.
It's, dude, I watch it. It is so good.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, so I'll have to check that out. But yeah, no, it's Fall House Usher. It's kind of like a mini series based on like Edgar Allan Poe stuff.
Hmm.
So it kind of takes the concept of the Fall House Usher, modernizes it, and kind of sticks like lots of bits and pieces of like Poe's work in like a modern
Oh,
twist.
he did Haunting of Hill House.
Yep, I think I literally said that one.
Yeah, you definitely did. But I was like, I don't think it registered.
Yeah. So I said people are really thrilled with his work. I will say this miniseries though, I really enjoyed it. So it's a lot of fun. Interestingly, it has Mark Hamill in it as one of the
Yay!
characters. Yeah. So I was like, oh, did not it's weird seeing him like not in a Star Wars movie. So and to see him, I thought he did a really good, like in a kind of more serious kind of role. Like I thought he did a really good job with it. So yeah, no, he was good. But yeah, so it kind of takes a stake. Basically, it's this kind of like, elite family. Kind of reminds me of like Purdue Pharmaceuticals, where it's like, hey, you guys have been, selling these drugs that have been, really getting people addicted, and you're a horrible family. We're taking you to court, whatever. That's kind of where it starts out.
Mm.
But then the family kind of like falls apart, and people start dying, and it kind of gets like dark and twisted. And it's really interesting to kind of see how it falls apart. We kind of got sucked into it. Like it was just one of those ones where we're like, well, we'll watch an episode, and then we watched, all of them.
Yeah.
Kind of one of those. It's actually funny because I was talking to one of my coworkers yesterday. I recommended it to her yesterday. At the end of the day, I was like, "Hey, did you see this house? I know you like American Horror Story. We're gonna watch a lot of the same things. I think you'd like it." And she's like, "Yeah, I'll check it out, maybe, whatever." And so I came in today. She's like, "Yeah, so I couldn't watch any more of that show because I started to fall asleep." I'm like, "Well, how much did you watch?" She's like, "5 episodes." I'm like, "Oh my god." I'm like, "Yeah." But that's basically what happens. Like it just kind of sucks you in. She's like, "I thought about watching more, but I didn't think I could stay up any longer." I'm like, 5 episodes is enough for one night. Like you did pretty good. Um, yeah, but it's I don't know. I really like the characterization. I thought some of the twists were there. Some of the stuff was like predictable, like, but it was not like, when I say predictable, like there's two different kinds of predictable. Like predictable, like, oh, saw that coming, and
Mhm.
predictable more like it's coming, but you don't know how they're gonna do it. And it's definitely more of that latter. Like you know where it's headed. You know things are gonna go
Yeah.
take a turn, but you don't know how or where or why, but you kind of hint of which way it's going, and you're kind of just on the edge of your seat. You're like, what's going to how is this gonna happen? So yeah, it was a lot of that, and I was just, kind of on the edge of your seat, just kind of like watching to see how things are going, and just kind of like you watch the inevitable twists kind of play out. Um, I really like it. I would recommend it. Like I said, I really kind of like the stuff that they had there. So I would recommend checking it out if you have Netflix. It's on
Hmm.
there. All 8 episodes are
Okay.
on there. Um, and if you're familiar with like Edgar Allan Poe and some of his stuff, you'll definitely appreciate some of the references there. Also, kind of, return to Order 333. They definitely utter the quote, "Deep into the darkness, peering long, I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting." It definitely comes into play during this miniseries. So, and I was
Mm.
like, I heard him say it, and I was like, what? And I was like, oh, I forgot that was Edgar Allan Poe. Um, so yeah, so it does kind of take a nice twist on the Edgar Allan Poe stuff. It kind of reminds me, if I was going to compare it to something else, it kind of reminds me a lot of like kind of what they did with Sherlock. Where it's like,
that was a good show too.
yeah, it's kind of where they took the concept that was there and they really modernized it, and then it's still at the end of the day it still kind of holds true to a lot of the stories that it had done, but it just kind of takes a modern twist on it. And I would say that's very much how I feel about like a lot of these things here. Like some of the concepts, if you'll look at some of Poe's stories, like obviously they're written in like the early 1900s, I think. So not necessarily like we're not worried about the plague or whatever anymore, or certain things. But they kind of do like a modern twist on some of these.
Okay.
So, yeah, I would like it. And I would say if you like the other guy's work, like it sounds like you do, I think you would definitely really like it. I thought that they did a great job with bringing it all together. I don't think there was a poor actor in there. Like I said, I thought it was all really interesting, and the way that they tell the story and bring it all together, I thought was nice. So
okay,
yeah, it's 8
that
episodes.
sounds fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely very very Halloweeny, and definitely like some very horror stuff. Because there's definitely like a lot of darkness in there. So yeah. I don't think I had anything else spoopy to talk about though. So I did see that there's a bunch of, like we were talking about last week, a bunch of like Halloween like scary games on sale.
Yep.
So I'm like contemplating like, well, maybe I should buy something. But then I'm like, well, I should play more Vampire Survivors. So I just finished Mario Wonder last night, so I'm like, well, what do I go and play now? And I'm like, well, I don't know.
I'm gonna hop back over to this Vampire Survivors real quick, and 13 more hours are gone. Fuck.
Yeah, I'm debating. And I'm like, well, maybe I should buy the DLC. I'm like, well, I did some more things in the game. I'm like, well, there's still unlockables I could do, but I'm like, I don't know how much they're gonna offer me. So I'm like, maybe I should try some of the DLC. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of where it was on it. I ended up getting like a really powerful, like,
have you been able to create what I showed you?
I did. As soon as you did it,
nice.
I'm like, well, I know like the right character to start this with to make it a little easier, and I'm like, well, I'll do that, and then I'll do that, and then that kind of helps things out, and then yeah, so I've gotten a lot more aware of like the combinations and things, like which things need what things, and that's been helpful. And what are those cards again called? Not Anarchy, right?
Oh god.
It begins with A though.
Arcanus.
Arcanus. Yeah, I got like a wild one after like I beat one of the levels, and it's like draw all the items to you, and I was like, I just figured it was gonna be like all like the gems. Nope, no, it's everything.
It's everything that's on the map. Yeah,
and I was like,
crazy.
I'm like, that's wild.
And it forms like a circle around you. And it's like, do you want to pick these up? And it's like, some of them.
I know, that's the other thing that's tricky. It's like, no, I don't want all of them. But like when you're trying to like do certain things, it's useful to have them closer to you instead of having to go to like the four corners of the map. So that was kind of cool. And then I think I quote unquote beat the kind of game. I don't know. I had like a boss battle.
The one that's like in the room where like all the shit's flying behind it. It's kind of like got like the like mode 7-ish thing going on. Yeah. That's a really good and really cool fight too.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't like hard, but it was just a lot of fun. Yeah, so I was like, oh, that's cool, but then I was like, all right, whatever. And then
once you hit that sort of state, it's DLC time, basically. Okay. That's
kind of what I was wondering. There was a kind of more like specific question I had for you, and I don't remember what it was now. But kind of tied into, I think, like, should I do the DLC or not? So I mean, I'll consider it. And that's kind of what I've been leaning towards. Yeah, so I was thinking about that. In terms of stuff that's on sale that I was looking at, like we talked about last week, Resident Evil. I was thinking about doing that. I think I even talked about doing Revelations again recently.
Yeah, that's a good game.
Yeah, and so it's on sale for a couple bucks. I'm like, well, maybe. And then I saw the what? Oh, fuck! Why can't I think of it right now? Amnesia games. On sale for stupid cheap. I know. I never played the third one.
So I haven't either, actually. So I know it exists, but I haven't played it.
Yeah, because there's classic one, and then there's Scary Pigs, which we've talked about in the past.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that one's just kind of meh.
Yeah, Scary Pigs. That's literally that's what that name literally. If you use that as the title of the game, they would literally describe the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Scary pigs, and like I don't, they're not even that scary. They're just scary pigs. So, because that game I remember was not really like I don't think I remember there was ways you could die, but like
The
it was a
entire
very
game's
difficult game
like the
to
whole
die.
thing is just like the real bad person was humans all along. Oh my god, that's the real horror. It's just like
Yeah, I remember that one being more like the original one like had a lot of like exploration and kind of like trial and error and things, and there was a lot more that could go wrong in it.
mm-hmm.
I remember Scary Pigs was just kind of more like a walking simulator with jump scares. That
Yep.
was kind of my like takeaway from that one. I heard the third one was much better.
Yep. Same.
But yeah, never played it. But yeah, no, they're all on sale on I assume probably everything, but I can speak specifically for the Switch. They're like $2. So
That's pretty
wow,
good.
yeah, $3 for 3 games basically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was leaning towards that. Whether or not I'd actually play it, another question. But because probably what would happen is I'd buy it and then I'd probably just go back and play Vampire Survivors again. So
Of course.
yeah. But yeah, that's it. That's all. That's all I got. I think. I don't think I have anything else. Nothing exciting.
Yeah, I think I'm good. I've been thinking about getting, and probably will, Metal Gear Solid 2.
Oh, okay.
Because the collection came out today.
I saw.
Yeah. So you can buy each game individually.
Uh-huh.
I've played 3 a billion times, and it's my favorite Metal Gear game.
Yeah.
But I also know that it's just the PlayStation 3 version.
Yeah.
I kind of want to play 2 again, and I haven't played it in a very long time.
I heard
So
the
I'm thinking about
optimization
buying
was
2.
kind of shitty last I heard. I don't know if you've heard anything different.
So what I have heard is that 1 runs at 50 hertz and is locked at 30 frames per second, which means it's actually running at like 20. 2 and 3, at least on console, runs at 1080p 60. So that's what I've heard, and that's the best I've got essentially for information about it, more or less.
Yeah. I was reading something that's like, well, it lets you pause anytime you want now, but then when you go to pause it, it takes like 5 seconds to do it. So I was like, oh, that's interesting.
I don't know if that's true, but okay.
It was pre-release, so I don't know if it was what the circumstances were around that. So
I see.
Whether or not it was someone playing like a pre-final build or something, I don't know. But it was kind of more like just there was definitely some lag in some places where you wouldn't expect it, and that was even on like the PlayStation 1 game, and this was on PlayStation 5 specifically, not on like the Switch or something where you might more reasonably expect.
So the only thing I had heard is that the game is locked at 30 FPS, and sometimes it jumps up to 60, which it's supposed to be locked at, and that was on the Switch version, and that was the only thing I heard that was wrong, and that the PC version's actually only 720p and not even 1080p, and also it doesn't work on Steam Deck at all. So,
very strange.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd say I guess anyone listening, check out some reviews before you hop in, because who knows.
My thoughts are $20 to play Metal Gear Solid 2 again. Fuck it, might as well. I'll give it a go.
We say that sometimes, but then we come back and we're like, the fuck? How do you fuck this up so bad?
Yeah.
Like, what was it? Chrono Cross, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, like things that should not have been issues. Tales of Symphonia, where they're like, hey, this game's like 20 years old, and I don't know. The screens are disappeared, and so are voice lines. Don't know why. So
yeah, I guess another one would be the one that released this year. Fuck, what was it? Bait and Kados. Have you played that one? I forgot.
I haven't. I didn't hear it had any performance issues. The big
no, it's not performance issues.
Acting.
Not only that, but they also changed a lot of plot dialogue. Like a lot.
Did they?
They censored it basically.
So that's disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one where I would be like, maybe if it's on sale. Like I like Bait and Kato's, but I'm very salty about the loss of the English voice acting for Bait and Kato's Origins because I loved it so much.
Yeah, they changed the voice act. Like, they got rid of it.
Yeah, there's no English
because they changed the dialogue also.
Yeah,
like the text box dialogue was changed, like a lot of it.
Their excuse was the low quality of the recordings, which
But the actual reason is because they changed, like they added like political things, and like said things like "oof, I can't believe they said that," like almost like the fucking person that was localizing it was talking to you in places. Like
That's
there's
weird.
one point where it's like I think it's like you pick up a book and it says something like a wife's place is to like listen to a man like it's something like very dated basically. And then like at the end of the sentence it says yikes, I can't believe they wrote that there. Like it's just like what the fuck. Like it's almost like the fucking people that were like it actually said the word yikes and then all that shit. But it was like almost like the people that were localizing it were like, I want to throw in my own 2 cents, and did that a lot of the time in the game. And I've seen a few examples, and I was just like, man, they fucked this up. And there's and a lot of people were like looked into how many examples there were of it, and there's a lot. And most people came to the conclusion that they are probably lying about the English voice acting, and it's actually just the fact that they changed so much of the dialogue and they're not re-recording it and they just don't want to bring attention to it, so they're just releasing it without voice acting.
I wonder if that has something to do with their deal with Nintendo. I bet.
I don't think so, because it was released on the Switch and Nintendo is more uncensored than the PlayStation is at this point.
No. Not in that regard. I mean more, I wonder if, because Nintendo localized the second game. So I wonder if Nintendo's like, nah, you can't use their localization. And then they had to go back and kind of redo it.
It definitely, from all the clips I've seen, right?
Mm-hmm.
The localization seemed like a specific choice for someone to input their own values and customs over the original localization of the game. So like kind of like a revisionist history sort of deal. Not like I gotta do a new revision of the game or whatever. It was more like I want to change things and I'm the localizer, so I can do that and I'm going to. That's what it comes off as.
I don't know. It's interesting. I'll have to look further into it because I had not heard any of those. Like I said, my brain kind of shut down on it when I was just like, kind of ruined the localization. Because I imagine too, even if they wanted to go and switch some things, a lot of the stuff that you're describing probably wouldn't have been voice acted in the first place. So, like, really the big things that were voice acted in that game before were cutscenes. So, they're kind of, a lot of those kind of, because they would have scenes where they would have like, not scenes, I guess like text things where they would have kind of like internal dialogue with things, or they would be like, oh, an apple, I wonder what it tastes like, or whatever, something dumb, like where they kind of just have like their internal thoughts on something as opposed to just, what it is. So I don't know. I'd have to see more of the changes and see what it is. But like I said, it's not anything I'm rushing out to. If it's on sale, I'll probably pick it up. I guess they just randomly patched Tales of Symphonia again the other day, so it's somewhat more normal-ish now. So I might, like I said, that one's just kind of waiting on a wish list. Then they'll drop it down to cheap, like $20. I know Namco will. Namco will do it. They always do. Just a matter of time. So wait for that and kind of see. But I'm in the same boat with Bait and Kato's. Like I love the idea of the games. I love Bait and Kato's Origins. I was not really a big fan of the first game because it had some issues, but they did add some quality of life stuff too to make it a little bit more tolerable. So I'll have to check it out eventually. But yeah, I don't know. But you're right. They do. Well, I guess we're both right. They have a companies find a way of knack of ruining like really easy re-releases for no reason. So
yeah.
All right. What else? Anything else?
No, I think that's good.
Well, let's wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us tonight. Don't forget to find us on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also reach out to us. We're on Facebook, or you can send us an email at gamecrunchcast@gmail.com. And there's also our website, game-crunch.com, where all our old episodes are.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon?
Yep.
Any final thoughts?
No.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Well, that said, my name is Mike Anastasia. Find me online. Clash of Penguin there or on your favorite gaming console. Until next week, game on.
Games.
Ons. It's new. I didn't see any news today.
Me neither.
I think we're into that season where everything's starting to come out, so there's not news.
Mm-hmm.